Hey, all, welcome back to SLB Basement Bourbon Bar. And today, Trenton, I have a little treat for you. I have a response to a challenge that was made to our YouTube channel.
We haven't done one of these in a while.
Not in a long, long time. My good friend, Phil.
Is that fudgy?
No, you always say that.
That's
different. That's different.
Okay.
Yeah. First Phil Whiskey. Guys, listen. I love his channel. He is very entertaining. His graphics and what he does in his camera work
really good.
Is really good stuff.
Yeah,
really neat, and he's a great communicator. So if you're looking at all to enhance your education in single malt Scotch whiskey or whiskey around the world, for that matter, Phil is a wonderful channel. First Phil Whiskey. He challenged us, Trenton. He challenged us in one other YouTube channel to this particular subject. What Phil did, Phil designed and created what he calls the flavor tree. It's just a tool to help folks out there kind of a little bit better road to gather and try to pick up on tasting notes, flavor notes.
Okay.
You know, so he split it up into 5 different categories. Kyle, I'm going to text you a copy of his flavor tree, if you can put it on the screen sometime so the good folks can see that. It is a poster. You can order it. You can get it.
Oh.
I think it is very helpful, too.
All right.
Because, Trenton, if you in your mind can pick up one tasting note, right? And let's just say, for example, it's caramel.
Yep.
All right? You can follow that flavor tree to where the caramel's at, and you can see the category, and then you can see if there's other ones around it, because usually when they're, if you're in the same family, you'll find other notes within that family.
That's cool.
So it's kind of a neat tool, and I think it's great. So he breaks down his flavor tree into 5 different branches. Like what I did there? Branches.
I didn't get it. I'm just that slow today. I did not get that until you hit me, and then I was like, "Are you kidding?"
5 different categories on the flavor tree. We got fruity and floral, rich and spice, peat and smoke, wood and grain, and heavy funk. Now, Kyle, if you can't, heavy funk.
Okay, I like
Kyle,
funk.
if you can, if there's a way to tag First Phil Whiskey, I don't know, there's a way to do this.
Yeah,
I don't know these things, and possibly his actual show that he did on this too. That would be great. People can reference that as well. So
I'm very interested to see what you selected.
I
see them.
What he asked us to do is pick one whiskey that we feel kind of relates to that particular part of the flavor tree.
Was there no like PVC pipe basketball?
No, I don't know. I don't think
I should make my own chart. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see my flavor chart. I could do a similar thing, and maybe we could challenge Phil. Maybe we could do a reverse challenge.
Poor Phil. I don't know what you started, Phil, but it might not be a good thing.
Let me know if you want me to put it in the comment. I'll make one.
What he wanted us to do is pick one bottle that relates to that portion of the flavor tree. Now, I kind of took a step further, Phil, and I told Trent, let's just pick bottles that are U.S. only, U.S. whiskeys. Okay?
Kurt picked all these.
No, I did not.
You did.
No.
You did.
No, I didn't.
You did.
All right. We're going to stop with that. Very first one, fruity and floral. Trenton, I don't know about you, bro, but I don't think I can find a better bottle to represent fruity and floral than this Barrel Seagrass Rye.
Do they still release this?
Yes.
They do.
Yeah.
This is probably one of my favorite ryes. And there's a ton going on in this. It's a rye finished in Martinique rum, which is probably that funky Madeira and apricot brandy.
Yep.
It really tastes like it just tastes like an apricot. Yeah. It's so nice. Yeah. I wish that I could just like order 20 cases of this, because it's probably one of my favorite releases. You also, I think, have the 15 or the 20-year Seagrass. Did they do one? Do you have that, or am I thinking of something else?
I do have that.
Is it good?
I think it is. Yeah.
I haven't had it.
You know what? I think I do.
I haven't had it. I love it. I wish we could do a barrel pick of the Seagrass. It's that good.
That would be fun.
That'd be really neat. Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun. Hey, Barrel.
If you're listening,
if you're listening to Trenton here, and if you can do that, let us know.
What is the thing that you put in this in like the summer? Like a syrup?
The best summer old fashioned that I personally mix is just 2 ounces of your barrel seagrass and 1/4 ounce of a pineapple syrup. I get my pineapple syrup from Liber & Co. You can order on Amazon. 1/4 ounce, and that's it. That's it. You stir that up, you put it over a chunk of ice. Bingo.
It's delicious.
It is.
Probably one of my favorite
wonderful
summer cocktails.
Wonderful
summer cocktails.
All right, let's move on. Rich in spice. This one envelopes quite a different varieties of dark fruits, mocha, coffee notes, chocolate notes are all in this portion of the flavor tree. Oh no, I know what's coming. It's been a while, hasn't it?
I haven't had this.
I'm bringing it out, man. It's been a while since I've talked to you folks about it. The Westward Pinot Noir cask. Everything I just mentioned is in that American single malt right there. Everything that I mentioned is in that.
Is this a pick or is this the 90?
No, it's not.
Oh, this is the 90.
No, this is just this is the one you can get off the shelf. This is one you get off the shelf, 90 proof. Phil, if you're watching this and if you bear to be with us for this long, this is one that's really heavy in the figs and the jammy notes. Also, that mocha. There's a beautiful chocolate malt note that's in here too. It's just fabulous. It's just a wonderful, wonderful whiskey.
Just took a sip. I went to heaven and just came right back. That is just so delightful. That is just like German chocolate cake with like I don't even know. I've never even had it.
It's wonderful
with like candied figs or something on it as like a garnish.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. It can tend to be a little pricey. I think what is the trend around $90, something like that,
90,
80 or 90. But it's to me well worth it.
If you can also, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, you're good.
If you can find like a store pick of these. At Cask Strength, I think Total Wine did one at some point. There's a couple other floating around. My good friend Craig R. See, I didn't say the last name. Sent me one that he wasn't. It was like half full, and he was trying to get rid of some things. So I think I bought it from him. It was just to die for. Wow. It's so good. Yeah. I'm gonna finish this.
The next category, guys, peat and smoke. All right, as you know, that's fairly prevalent in the realm of single malt Scotch. Not as much in U.S. spirits, but there was only one bottle, and one bottle only, that came to my mind for that portion. You should look it up sometime when you have time. I texted it to you too. There's ash, there's meat, there's barbecue in this portion of the flavor
None of that
tree.
should exist in a whiskey.
I love it. Only one bottle I can think of, Trent. It's another American single malt. It's McCarthy's Single Barrel Cask Strength. Dude. That is just a delightful single malt. Delightful. Here, pour me a little bit of that there, Trent. Just a tiny bit.
I mean,
I have just a little bit left of that bottle, and I was also gifted a bottle from Phil and Julie from the Bourbon Van. So thank you for that. I have a backup of this now. I just have a little bit left of this one.
No.
What?
I mean, it definitely fits the profile that you're talking about.
Phil, and I'm talking about Bourbon Van. Educate this young fellow, will you? Come on.
How do you educate me on something I don't like? It just shouldn't be meaty.
That's wonderful. There's a hint of pineapple in there for me. There's a little bit of chocolate in there for me. That little ashy note it's not more of a barbecue-y type note. I don't know. It's really divine. It really is.
I'll stick with my Westward.
All right, I got it. I get you. It's not for everybody, but I couldn't pass it up for that.
You know the price points on these?
They're a little expensive. There's $100 probably.
$100, okay.
Yeah, they're a little expensive. Okay, guys, the next one I got up there is Wood and Grain, and I want to highlight Pursuit United. This is just their blended straight bourbon whiskey, Pursuit United. Now, reason why? In this category, Trenton, if you remember, it was wood notes. You know, there was a lot of baking spice notes in this particular category too for Wood and Grain.
Yeah.
That's right. This is a really, really nice bottle. It really is. It's a nice bottle.
And the price point is nice. I believe these are like $60.
Yep. And
I think.
I just remember this too. One of our patrons, Bill, gifted me this.
Corvette?
Nope.
Oh.
Wrong Bill.
Oh, spent.
Financial Bill. Financial advisor.
I don't
yeah, man.
know.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, this is a great bottle. Great bottle.
I really like the stuff that Pursuit's doing.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit partial to like Ryes. Their double oak rye is really good. We did end up tasting that in our like top 5 ryes of the year, and it just didn't squeak by like by a hair. But it was a contender, and their regular stuff is really good too.
Yeah.
Especially for the price point.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's a little tough with their stuff, I think, is distribution. But I think you can like buy the stuff on Sealbox or Bourbon Outfitters or one of those guys. Yeah. If you want to check it out. It's good stuff.
There's a lot we could have picked from in this category. There's a lot of bourbons that would match up into Phil's flavor tree for wood and grain. I just thought this is a perfect example.
It really
is. Yeah. And I was going to put out maybe some Augusta stuff that they have.
That stuff can be fruity too.
A lot of heavy baking spices going on in their whiskeys. So there's a lot that we could have chose from, but this Pursuit I think is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Last but not least is heavy funk. You can get a lot of that with single malts too, with the Campbelltowns and everything else. Yeah. But there's one bottle and one bottle only on this one that came to my mind. And what is it, Trenton?
The Middle West Ported Pumpernickel Rye.
Believe it or not, Trenton, Phil must have listened a little bit to you once in a while, because sulfur is in that category. In the flavor tree.
A lot of people do listen to me. That's why a lot of distilleries come out with the releases that they do, and I'm really kind of a pioneer. I'm really paving the way for a lot of people.
There's quite a decent amount of single malt Scotch that I've tasted had a little bit of sulfuric tone to it, but this one for sure does. In this rye whiskey here, it's just wonderful.
I honestly,
it's great stuff, and this fits this category to a T. Heavy funk.
That was made for this category, I think. And I was trying to think of some other stuff, like maybe like a rum, like a Jamaican rum. Ow! I just like broke my pinky. Jamaican rum finished product of some sort. But I mean, you pulled this out, and I was like, okay, you sold. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
A lot of people are leery about the sulfur note in it, because it's really just like you had somebody light a firework in your mouth and then swallowed it. It's so sulfury, but it's so delightful.
Yeah, it just envelopes its way into the depth of the sip.
Yeah.
I have had a couple of whiskeys that I didn't like because they were very heavy sulfuric, and that would be single malt Scotch that I'm referring to.
I'll have to try some of those,
but
because I do like a good sulfur note.
This one here just kind of it just helps build the intensity of that sip.
And I'll say this, because this is one of those things, I think I said it before, where I was like, this would be really curious to try at cask strength. And I have been fortunate enough, a couple folks messaged me and they're like, hey, there's a pick in my local storage room, I'm going to grab one for you. And I ended up, I think, with 2. Nice. And I think the higher proof stuff in this bottle in particular dials the sulfur note down, and it's not as good. I
was just going to say that. I have one.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, somebody gifted me one, and I apologize. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. But yes.
And I will gladly eat my words on that. This is one that is better at the proof that it is, and I think this proof in particular is 99.5, so just shy of 100. Yeah. And it is worth every penny. I bought 2 cases of this because it was on closeout somewhere in some store in Nebraska or something.
As you can see, this one's not open because I finished mine off, and Trenton gave me another one to replace it. So thank you for that.
I got a couple left. Very out of all these, I would recommend this one the most.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's all we got for you today, Phil. Thank you so much for the challenge, buddy. I personally, sincerely appreciate everything that you do, because I watch, let me just say 98% of your shows. I like to say 100, but you never know if I might miss one. But I do genuinely appreciate your approach, the way you are able to put your information out there in such an easy format so that everybody can understand and go with you, Yeah. We're just a couple of knuckleheads down here. Probably not know what we're saying half the time. Who knows?
I don't know what I'm saying 98% of the time.
Phil is so good at all this stuff. So, man, I appreciate you, Phil. Thank you so much for the challenge. I can only apologize that it took us so long to get it out there. But we had a lot going on in December.
And it was a tough challenge, really.
Yeah, it was
tough to find all these.
Yeah, but we did it. I'm proud of ourselves.
You did most of the work.
All right, guys, that's all we got for you today. As always, we ask you to please drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time right down here with Trent and me in a good old basement bourbon bar. See you later.